Grand Theft Auto 5 in VR via the Lucross mod is an incredible experience already, especially if you tweak performance, resolution and frame rate to maximise your experience. However, I've received a number of comments asking me to check out the Natural Vision mod for GTA 5 to enhance that experience even further in VR. The mod itself has gone through various iterations, the latest I believe being Natural Vision Evolved, but for this video I decided to test Natural Vision Remastered alongside the Lucross VR mod. Natural Vision is a visual overhaul mod which attempts to give GTA 5 a more realistic aesthetic and has the explicit goal of making the city of Los Santos more like Southern California in real life. Still currently without my own index, I decided to check out this combination of mods through Airlink on my Quest 2 and give a few of my opinions. I'll put all relevant links in the description if you would like to try this out yourself, and my PC specs can also be found below. Also, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel for more content like this. But with that, let's take a look.
Immersed Robot.
So when I first installed the Natural Vision Remastered mod, I basically just visited a few different locations around Los Santos. I wandered around the city, drove around the city and looked at a few different sites. But then I began to change the weather, the type of weather and the time of day to really draw out some of the visual improvements. And the first thing I noticed actually was just how performance was not radically affected by the addition of this mod. And I actually increased some of the graphical settings to get it looking as best I could really, although I didn't dive into those too much and I'll get into that a little bit more later on. I'm running this on a PC with an RTX 3080 which does allow the game to run reasonably well on Airlink in my Quest 2. I'm only running at 72Hz in my headset at 1.2 resolution scaling, and I'm also using the 1200x1200 resolution per eye in the Lucross mod, but I have to say that things look really sharp in this. I won't be going too in depth with performance here, but I can say it was running at a reasonable level, and I'll probably try and revisit this when I get my Valve Index replacement, as I find it easier to tweak settings and dial things in a little bit better on the Valve Index. But for what I'm showing here, it was running really well on my system anyway. But just taking in some of the sights as I randomly wandered, drove or rode around the city was pretty spectacular at times. The mod really shows what it can do when weather effects such as rain are applied and the street reflections look incredibly good. This is often what you'll see when people demonstrate these types of mods with GTA 5. They'll often show the weather being sort of wet, stormy and those kinds of things, because it really highlights some of the improvements that are made with this mod. I also increased the population density and turned on some anti-aliasing, as things were still running great really. The only slight downside is the unavoidable necessity of Lucross's mods, which revolve around the alternate eye rendering technique, and running at a lower frame rate in the Quest 2 at those 72 frames per second, it creates an irritating blurring or reprojection effect when moving in certain directions. And anybody who has played Lucross's mods in the past will be familiar with this, but I don't want to be too harsh on this. It seems like a necessity to get games like this running in VR at all, unfortunately, and I found that by running the game at 120Hz in my Valve Index in the past, the effect was far less noticeable and the alternate eye just sort of diminishes. It's still there, you can still notice it, but it's not as bad as running at these lower frame rates. But even taking that into account, the Natural Vision Remastered mod is creating a much more realistic world, especially in certain conditions, and it's doing all of this with what feels like a very lightweight demand on performance overall. GTA 5 is demanding in VR anyway, so it's always been something that benefits from tweaks, but just by having this level of fidelity added with minimal performance here is very impressive in my opinion. Overall though, there's little doubt in my mind that I'll be playing far more of GTA 5 in VR using this mod. I'll be tweaking things further and seeing just how good I can get things looking. One thing to mention is that everything I'm showing here is actually on the base level install of the mod, more or less, and there are numerous optional extras that I'll dive into in the future to increase overall fidelity, and there's a lot to explore with this, so I'm only just scratching the surface with it in this video. But as mentioned, I'll leave all the relevant links to this mod in the description of the video along with my own PC specs. If you'd like a guide on installing the Natural Vision Remastered mod and the Lucross VR mod for GTA 5, then let me know in comments. If I get enough feedback, then I might very well do that at some point. But once again, please do like this video if you get a moment, and also subscribe to this channel for more VR related content. But with that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.